Good morning from Melbourne, Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Life Theories with myself, Jay, all the way from, as I said, Melbourne, Australia. And we've got the lovely Diana all the way in Virginia, in the US of A. And we've got a very, very special guest all the way from Ontario, Canada. So as you can see, we're going global in this, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep, Life Theories
Karen,
global.
We are global. That's what we're trying to do. Karen, welcome to our show. Hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
Fantastic. Oh, yeah, it's really good for about 6:04 a.m. in the morning. So yeah. I do quite well to get up at this time. I'm very proud of myself. And how have you been?
I'm great. It's Sunday afternoon here, so I'm still on rest mode. So this is perfect.
Rest mode. Oh, that's fantastic. What's the weather like over there? We'll start with that one. I'm very obsessed with the weather.
It's hot. It's hot here, like probably 28 today. So it's
28.
Yeah, we're in summer here, so.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot. 28.
Yeah.
28. Okay. Yeah. I'd love to come to Australia because we usually cop the 30s and 40s.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
go down to the beach. Yeah, I think you'd love the beach. If you love the beach, you go 35 plus. I love all that. So yeah. But welcome to our show. Now, while we've got Karen on, she want to come on and talk about a bit about herself, a bit about what she does in the spiritual community and her spiritual journey. So, Karen, I'm going to throw it over to you to give you a bit of introduction towards what you are doing. Because I read your bio and very, very interesting. And again, thanks very much for coming on the show. And do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Karen Mendell, and I'm a freedom from self-sabotage coach. So I help people overcome self-sabotaging habits, which really everybody self-sabotages, and it's really needed in today's society. Pretty much everybody self-sabotages. So I work with people. I do a lot with the subconscious mind and educate people on how the subconscious mind works and how 93% of our thoughts, actions, and feelings are tied to the subconscious mind. And then that kind of ties into like a lot of childhood trauma, childhood programming, because a lot of the things that people are dealing with now tie back to their programming from the ages of 0 to 7. So I've been a coach now. I took the program in September 2020. So during COVID, when everybody was stuck at home, I was really working on bettering myself and learning. And I also took a holistic lifestyle coursing coach. So I'm Czech certified holistic lifestyle coach, and then Christoph certified freedom from self-sabotage coach. So from there, just wanted to help people because I overcame a lot of my own self-sabotaging habits, and also the last 2 years specifically have been working on healing some of my own childhood trauma. So now I just use that to help people based on my experience. So like really since I was a teenager, I was self-sabotaging. So drugs, alcohol, binge eating, toxic relationships. And it wasn't until probably a decade ago that I really started focusing, getting healthy, kind of having my awakening journey, which has now been a decade long and just constantly growing to get where I am now. So now on my journey, it's my time to kind of help other people get to where they need to be their best selves and to live their best lives.
Absolutely, that's fantastic. Because I'm personally myself, self-sabotage was huge.
Yeah.
So what you're talking about is massive, going into the inner child. Because I'm moving into a bit of shadow work. So look, it's really interesting what you're saying. We're a little bit parallel to what we're doing. So now you said about a course you did over there. Because obviously there's a lot of different life coaching courses around. I've done one myself. Self-sabotage, well, that's interesting. Was that for the viewers, because I mean the viewers will be interested in those kind of things. What about the self-sabotaging course? Can you tell us a little bit about that? Was it an online course, and how did you get into it? And were you directed by other practitioners or anything like that?
No, so there is someone I follow who is now really my mentor. His name is Jason Christoph, and he's a local guy from Cornwall, Ontario. And he's been really speaking truth for probably well over a decade. And he started this program because he really did a lot of research on the subconscious mind and self-sabotaging. He was he was came from a self-sabotaging background as well. He used to do drugs and a lot of things, and he turned his life around by studying how we can reprogram our subconscious mind. So from there, he started sharing his information, and then I had a session with him in 2020, and he said, yeah, I think I'm going to open up a school to teach other people, because this is really needed. Like, nobody understands how dominant our subconscious mind is, and a lot of people really need help right now. So he opened up the first, I guess, semester of school, and I joined on board with that. So now he does have an online, and if anybody's interested, they can reach out to me after this, and I can link them up to that, because he just started a new semester. I think he'll probably do another one in the fall. But it's a really great program, and it'll teach you everything you need to know to not only better yourself, but also to help other people, overcome some of these things that they need to.
So because I did a Shadow Warrior course with Greg Riley and Michael McNair when I went through mine. So that's why I'm very interested in what you're saying. And ours was online. We had to find out. We actually went into he actually got us to go into ourselves, into our shadow, so into the inner child. Yeah, we talked about self-sabotage was sort of a part of it. So we're sort of on the same wavelength in a lot of ways, talking about the shadow and going through there. Was it a intense course for you where you had to sort of find out a bit about yourself? Did the course open up within the course? Did you have to sort of look into yourself and heal yourself? Is that the way the course was structured as well? Or
it's
how would you go with that one?
Yeah, I think it's definitely part of it. And I would encourage people, like, even if, like, everybody self-sabotages, right? Like, even the best of the best, it's normal for your subconscious mind to kind of pull you back. So it's a constant process of, you can't just like say, oh, I'm healed, and then just let everything go. You have to have constant habits, constant routines, constant positive programming. So I think I had healed a lot of it. But then this kind of helped me. Like, I'm constantly growing and evolving. So I had kind of put a lot of that past me. But then in the past 2 years, I also, during COVID, went through a separation. So I had a lot of trauma that I didn't actually know about. And I really only discovered that about 2 years ago. So I was already certified, but still peeling back different layers of things that I'm always kind of thinking about things I'm doing and piecing it together about why I'm doing certain things now. So I'm much more conscious of it. But the self-sabotaging habits, I had already kind of stopped all of those before I took the course. And that's also why I wanted to do it, to say, like, I've come this far and now I want to help other people, maybe that in the same journey.
Awesome. It's awesome when you get to a point in life where you've gone through what you've gone through. Do you feel, obviously you probably follow Diana, which is, she does a wonderful job getting us information with regards to astrological changes, 777 portals, full moon, all those kind of things. Do you believe that, or have you found that you'll be more connected in that way to events astrologically, universally, that are happening that have changed you? I know I'm asking because I know I have, I feel like I was even speaking to a friend of mine today about how I'm really changing and really coming into myself, and really and the self-sabotage is big, because I think I self-sabotage by talking myself down and not let myself go a lot. So have you opened up in that way?
Yeah, I think for me, the last, I would say 6 months. 6 months specifically, I've really started connecting. Specifically since March, I've been seeing synchronicities everywhere. So I'm always looking for signs now from guides, and they're constant now. And I think I wasn't paying attention before. And now I get several of them a day. So I'm much more in tune with myself and my spiritual side. It's been I would say the last year's been more of a spiritual journey for me. Yep. Because I'm seeing it all the time. I'll have a conversation, and then it's just constant. I see at least 3 of them a day. So I'm really more in tune. And then, the full moon, the new moon, I'm really trying to channel that and do my meditation work, aligning with that to just try to have as much of it, as possible. And I'm much more in tune with that now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I was just going to say March was what I went through was March was a big transforming month. Diane, have you got any questions for Karen there? Do you want to? Because as I said, Di does so much with on the internet about getting us information about transits and astrological changes and all that. She does a great job getting that info out. So I'll hand it over to Di to give you a couple of questions.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that's really interesting that you do on self-sabotage, because that's probably a thing that pretty much everyone does, and especially the way we're programmed and everything, and the way our coping mechanisms are. And I used to also be an addict myself, so I can relate to the self-sabotage thing a lot. So what do you think the biggest reason is? Like, I know you work with a lot of different people. Like, what do you think the biggest reason is that people self-sabotage? Do you think a lot of it's childhood trauma? You think that's a major reason, or do you think they just have learned unhealthy coping skills, or just their subconscious, right? Like when you're used to that pattern, and then you try to bring something new, like love, new relationship, or new money, something that's outside of your comfort zone, that's not the normal, right? Like your brain wants to bring it back to the normal state, right?
Yeah, I think it all ties back to that programming, and it doesn't necessarily have to be trauma, but really everybody has some kind of trauma. And it's not even like intentional. It's not even like a bad thing. Like, even if your parents did the best job, there's always going to be something that makes you the way that you are. So a lot of it has to do with that 0 to 7, which is the time that your subconscious mind is still in the theta state. That's more susceptible. But even like we are being doused with programming nonstop. So the TV, the radio, I mean, we saw with COVID, like stay home, stay safe, like all of that is programming us to think and feel a certain way. So it's everywhere, right? Even even you see like sex is all over the place, and that's teaching people to be like addicted to porn and thinking that it's normal, and then they're getting into these habits, and then gambling, like it's being promoted, and then that affects people, and it gets into their subconscious mind. So it is from childhood, but even like in today's world with the TV, with the movies, with what's being promoted, they're always coming at us trying to make us live our worst life, pretty much, right? Even like with the foods and trying to normalize like these unhealthy foods. So that's all programming us to think that it's okay to be mediocre and live kind of like the rest of the life.
Like unworthiness, I think unworthiness. We're programmed to believe we're not worthy, whether it's from childhood, whether it's from the media. So the self-sabotage is bringing you back to, I'm not worthy enough to have this good thing, so I'm just going to go F it up.
Well,
what about the ego there? Sorry, what about Karen? What about the ego there? I'll just butt in for a minute. We talk a lot about the ego with what you're saying. Do you think what Diana was just saying? Do you think we're being programmed, which I believe we're being programmed with all the stuff you were saying, programmed at a young age, and then suddenly we're being told we are mediocre, and then they bring out sort of like these, what's the word for it? They bring out all these, I call it bribes, We're supposed to live a good life with all this stuff, but they're using it against us, if you know what I mean, and using it to control the ego, which is controlling the subconscious mind. Would that be fair to say as well? Because you probably work a lot with that too.
Can be too, right? Because there's so self-sabotage, there can be like, health, financial is huge, right? And we live in this world where it's like we can never have enough things, and we're supposed to be happy with having things, the dopamine, right? So they know how to trigger that dopamine, but really you should be doing it naturally. And I think the one thing is that we, like as humans, we're pack animals, right? So we want to fit in with the herd. So we stay safe and we play small to fit in with the herd, but the herd is sick and broken. We're all sick and broken. So in order to get above the herd, it's a feat, because you have to tell your subconscious mind, like, no, it's safe. It's safe to be healthy, and it's safe to be physically fit and financially stable. We don't want to go back down, because your subconscious mind is constantly pulling you back down to that mediocre place where it's safe with the herd, and the herd is, disease ridden and sick and eating unhealthy foods and saying it's okay to be overweight. You don't need to be healthy. It's okay to spend all your money on these things because you're going to look good. So like they're constantly programming us even today. And then you also have to piece together, anything that maybe happened from your childhood. And again, it doesn't always need to be negative, but if you grew up in a household, for example, that ate unhealthy food like I did, my subconscious mind feels safe when I'm eating that food, and I really had to put a trigger to that emotional eating, like, okay, I'm only doing this because I'm feeling unsafe, and like this is how I feel safe in my childhood, is like eating this junk food, for example, right? So that's how you feel safe, because that's what you know from a child.
How did you go with the junk food thing? Is I have the same issue with the emotional eating.
Yeah.
I've got over it. Obviously, I'm over it, but it creeps in when you sort of lower your energy a little bit when you're living in the world trying to balance it out. How did you go yourself with that one? Because obviously it's close to me as well. Because as I said, you slip it. You do slip. You know.
For me, it was just awareness, and also just working. I worked really hard on my mental health, I would say, in the last year. So like you said, keeping my energy up, and just like the meditation, I do hypnosis, I do a daily gratitude practice that I haven't missed a day since I started. And it really just helps me focus so that I don't really have those feelings anymore. But at the same time, like, they're going to come up. There's going to be times where I might eat that thing that makes me feel better, but I'm just going to make sure that I'm okay, move past it, and then refocus. Because like no one's ever 100% perfect either, right? Everyone's going to eat something. So, but I'm so aware of it now. So it's also just being conscious of it. Like, am I doing this because I'm actually hungry, or am I doing this because I'm trying to fill some kind of void or emotion? And then consciously thinking like, okay, do I want to do this? Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I still do. And the other time it's like, no, because I know that I'm doing this. But I'm kind of like you, where I don't do that anymore because I'm in a different energy state. But it took a lot of the self-care work and the reprogramming of my mind to get there.
Okay. So yeah, that's it. So for the viewers out there, so everyone knows they're doing it. What would you consider, as I say, I'm aware of myself. How would you describe awareness to the viewers out there? Because everyone goes, I'm aware, but they're still not connected to their subconscious, or connected to the issues like the three of us are. How would, as a coach, how would you describe that to someone? They go, I'm aware, but we look at each other and go, yeah, I don't think so. How would you describe that to a new client?
I think, okay, so you can't really be like, there's the subconscious mind, and then there's the conscious mind, which is only responsible for 7%, but it's kind of like you have to think a little bit before you do something. Whereas most people just act and then they think about it later, even when you're talking, even when you're speaking. It's just kind of slowing things down so that you're actually thinking about your actions or your thoughts or your words before you're doing them. And understanding why you're doing things. It's really just getting in tune with yourself, which does come from putting in the work, the daily practices that you need to do to kind of get more in tune with yourself.
So are you saying for the viewers, you train yourself because you're basically reprogramming yourself to flow within you, to have those thoughts and make sure it flows correctly, but using your mind, you going with your heart. This is how I explain it. I go with my heart with what I want to do, and use my mind to help me guide, instead of thinking with the ego and just going, oh, we'll just go along with it.
Yeah, it really is just thinking about, like, the subconscious mind is always trying to pull you back into safety. So if you just work on autopilot, you're constantly just going to go back. So you really have to take that autopilot switch off and start really becoming aware of everything that you're doing, and then trying to tie together why you're doing it. So, instead of being that autopilot and letting the subconscious mind just rule how your thoughts are, how your feelings are, how your actions are, you're taking a step back. Even if it means writing things down, like, write things down for a week. Like, okay, I was feeling like this, and then I ate a bowl of ice cream, or I was feeling like this, and I did this again. And then you can, go back and see some patterns that you're having.
I also think being aware of, like, your emotional triggers, that kind of awareness is probably the biggest key to it. Most people are on autopilot. They aren't aware of it. They're like robots going in, and like a lot of people aren't even conscious of why they're doing the things they're doing. They're just so like autopilot, like they're so stuck in a loop. So I think really when you can take a step back and be aware of, I think the emotions drive a lot of the self-sabotaging behavior. So it really takes, I think, being in touch with your emotions. Why am I getting, because like what's triggering me in this moment. And I think writing down, like you said, what you feel, I think that's a big part of it. But a lot of people are trying to they don't want to be in touch with their emotions. They want to distract themselves with all these things, or whether it's substances, whether it's social media, whatever kind of habit. So like a lot of people can't even get that because they can't even sit with their own emotions or to even feel and be aware of what's going on inside of them, you know?
Exactly. And one of the things too is like, it's amazing if people want to get help to overcome self-sabotage, but unless they want to, you can't do anything. So these people that are on autopilot, they're not ready to overcome any of it. But it's the people that really want to change, but they don't know how, and they keep getting stuck. Maybe they keep trying to change, but a couple weeks later they go back, or 6 months later they go back. Those are the people that we can help with understanding how their mind works to actually make those lasting changes. But the people that are on autopilot that have no self-awareness, they don't even really know that there's anything going on. And though you can't do anything unless somebody wants to change.
And it takes a lot of suffering sometimes. That's the problem. It takes so much. Even with me I had to go through addiction, and people have dark night of the soul, whatever, or just go through a lot of misery, a lot of pain. It sucks that we have to go through so much pain and suffering to drive us to change. And some people are just addicted to misery and still won't change. But it takes a lot to really stop the self-sabotage. So I really think that's great that you're doing that. That's interesting. I've never heard someone with do that kind of coach. I think it's very interesting. To label it like that.
Darren, tell us a little bit about when you get a client. Like, people want to know, they'll walk in. Tell us a little bit about your business, how you get people when people come and see you. Because we live in a world which is trying to push down the stuff that we're doing. Diana's doing some great work with her Trailblazers of the Universe. Obviously, I'm looking at the dark night of the soul. So I do like the dark stuff. Looking at, so you and me, we're sort of working in conjunction with what we're doing. Tell us a little bit about how people find you, and is there some sort of community? How do you get your message out? Because, as I said, we are being suppressed, and we all know it. And we all know it within ourselves. So how do you go about talking to people on that level? Because some people are really scared to do so.
Yeah. So the first step, again, is that you have to want to change, and your why has to be big enough. Your why has to be greater than your pain, right? In order to have a change.
That's good.
So to reach out to me, I'm on all social media. You can search my name, Karen Mendell.
And we'll put that all up as well.
I'll put it in the description.
So on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, all of it. And you can reach me on there. And then I'll also link my email after as well.
It's awesome.
So for the coaching, so I really work one-on-one. Usually it's through Zoom or some kind of video call. And we either do 2 or 3 sessions. And there's a really detailed questionnaire. It's very, very detailed that the clients fill out. And that really tells me, it gets to the root of why they're self-sabotaging. Typically, it's something from their past or something from their childhood that is causing them to have these patterns. So then I take an in-depth look at the questionnaire in order to pinpoint some of that, and then we work through them. So, we do some hypnosis work. We work on educating, and then I'll put together like a one-on-one program of like next steps. So how you're gonna things that you're gonna implement in order to make the change. And then just, educating them on why they're doing certain things, and then working together to figure out how to stop them. Because in order to make lasting change, you need to interrupt those programs. So you not only need to interrupt them, but then you need to fill them with positive programs. Because if you just interrupt them and stop them, then you're just going to fill them with another negative program. So it's kind of peeling back the layers of the onion for each person with this in-depth questionnaire to get to the root of why they're doing certain things, and then helping them put together the plan to overcome it once and for all, so that they don't keep going back to the old habits.
And you have a lot of people, obviously, do you do any, because we've got like a mind, body, spirit festival here, we've done, it's basically a festival with all the, anything to do with the spiritual world, okay, mind, body, spirit, do you do any like talks or anything like that, or do you do the local festivals? Do you have festivals over there that people find you, or do you believe that people are drawn to you with what you're doing?
I
How do
haven't
you
done
feel about
any
that?
of those yet. So pretty much for now, it's been the one-on-one, but I plan on in the future doing some master classes and things like that. So
Yeah,
that's down the road. So offering maybe like longer programs. So maybe for like, 6 weeks or a couple months so that I can really help people follow them through the whole thing. So as like when you do coaching with me, I'm always there to support, but the thing with the self-sabotage coaching is it's about empowering yourself, right? So empowering yourself means like, you don't have someone holding your hand the whole time. We give you the tools that you need so that you can take on anything yourself because now you have the knowledge. But I do want to do some more in-depth master classes and some longer different style programs to help people in different ways. That's all maybe in the next coming months. But for now, it's one-on-one coaching.
Oh, fantastic! So, with the course that with what you've gone through, talking about awareness. I mean, we've been through, Diana and I, and Sarah and Cortez and Jackie, my friend Jackie as well. We've all gone through stuff like spiritual awakenings, twin flame journeys, and all those, I guess, universal astrological changes within ourselves. That are influencing it and bringing these stuff to, no one would really talk about self-sabotage the way we're talking about it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we're becoming aware with yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, about your journey, about how you became aware, I guess, and you said, this is my path in life. And you found your purpose within what you're doing. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So from my teenage years, I was drinking. Like I got drunk for the first time when I was 12. And then when I was in my early 20s, I was doing hard drugs and drinking and just super toxic, just also like toxic relationships, just trying to find love anywhere I could. Totally had no self-love. Then when I was 27, I met my husband. We got married, we had a son. And then something happened where I started waking up to things that were happening. Well, I started realizing that most of the things that we've been told have been a lie. And it was like opening Pandora's box and started going down all these different rabbit holes. But I was completely alone and isolated because my ex-husband couldn't get on board. My parents couldn't get on board, my friends. So like I was that crazy conspiracy theorist girl at that time. I had nobody, I had no support. It was a very, very lonely awakening journey. So for 4 years, my only lifeline was people on online Facebook groups. Like I didn't have a single soul that I could talk to in person. So it was a really hard time, but I feel like I needed to go through that. It made me really strong. And then at the same time, I was just fighting to protect my son, right? So I was going to vaccine protests and things. So I met someone there. I carpooled with her, and then I just instantly connected with her, and she's one of my good friends to this day. And then
it's amazing, isn't it? That it's amazing that you it's a full-time purpose group. Sarah, Diana, Cortez.
And we all meet. It's all because you're more in alignment with your purpose, or you're finding a purpose, or like you're standing against something. You're agreeing. I think it's kind of cool how we all connect like that.
So we just randomly carpooled, and today she's like, I just talked to her for like an hour today. She's one of my closest friends. But then from there, I started meeting some of her friends, and then I started going to more protests because I was very vocal about everything going on because I have a son to protect, and it's my number one goal. So I feel like that's been my purpose too, is also like, fighting for things for my son and making sure that, he's protected. Also managing with his dad, who is completely opposite. So it was really hard time. So then I started meeting more and more people. And then COVID hit, and COVID was honestly great for me. I know COVID sucked for a lot of people, and it still sucked.
It actually helped me do more content and stuff.
Helped me as well.
Yeah.
People like us, Karen, I read people like us.
We're
alchemists. I call alchemists.
Yeah. I needed the break from society, let's be honest.
I thrived during COVID. I just did learning. I did online courses. I was able to work out every day. I was able to focus on time with my son, and I just kept connecting with people because I was going to protests. I was very vocal. I had friends coming to me saying, so I've been posting for years about stuff, and just nobody would listen, nobody would care. And I had people finally reaching out saying like, hey, we see what's going on, starting connecting with them. So it was really a time of growth for me and a time of like connecting with people. And then that tied me to start doing the coaching, because I was like, okay, now I know that I'm supposed to help people. I've been on this journey, not only of self-sabotaging, but even just like this whole awakening process. I've learned so much. Like, it's my job now to help other people, especially people that are just going through, because it's very crazy and scary time for someone that just jumps into it. Yeah. So then, yeah, I felt like it's my calling to help people from everything else I went through. And then 3 years ago, I got separated. Again, we're on good terms, but he just wasn't aligned with me. Like, our frequencies just were too far away. You know,
frequencies come up, don't they? Like you feel, you feel like you. I always call Dr. Strange. I'm a massive comic book freak, right? I'll start. Yeah, Diane's gonna go. Here he goes again. He's just been in a Comic-Con. Look out. But if you watch the show Doctor Strange, you feel like you've ascended, and you're looking at, and we're sort of looking below. You know, it's not a power thing. We're just sort of looking, and we're aware of what's going on. No, I can't do this anymore. I have to be with people like us. You know, our white lighter group, if you want to call it that way.
Yeah, and you get to a point where you need to align with people that are thinking the same as you, and it doesn't mean like you agree on everything, but at least like the larger picture you're seeing, right? So it just got to that point where we decided, like, I really thought maybe he'd get on my frequency. It didn't work, and it had to come to that time. So then after that, when I finally moved out on my own, it was almost like I had a regression where I was completely lost again. I lost my self-love. I was lonely. I was like, okay, because I'd been with somebody for 10 years, and now I'm like, so for the last 2 years, that's when I started kind of going on more of a spiritual journey, and really also going back to the childhood trauma. And so I had a twin brother that died when he was 2 days old. Oh. And then my mom almost died giving birth. And I had never really thought about this before, but then I realized that there was a connection between that and the type of relationships I was attracting into my life. I was always attracting these unavailable people. Yeah. And then I realized it was an abandonment wound from the loss of my twin, and then the attachment wound from my parents when they were.
Sorry, buddy, Nick. Can I ask you what age you were when you did that? Because I only found out with my, I was having a pattern only about 4 months ago. So did you? It
was recent.
It was recent.
Like 2 years ago. Okay, so 2 years ago after my separation. Yeah. When I started dating,
I
started dating again, and all these patterns, like the same patterns from my 20s that I thought I had moved past. I'm like, why do I keep attracting? And then I really started digging deep into like the spiritual side, the childhood trauma. So I do body memory recall, like with an energy healer. So good, because I have all this stored trauma that I need to physically get out.
It's stored in your body, you know. It is stored in your trauma. Is a lot of times we'll do a lot of work with our mind and like spiritually, but then like we forget about our body. Your body holds a lot of that trauma, you know.
Yeah, and the only way to really get out the trauma stored in your body is somatic healing, right? So like you have to get it out through like breath work or dancing or body memory recall or like something like that. And everybody has it, you know. And there's so much trauma in our bodies.
Do you think, Karen? I was going to ask you with that, where you said dancing and all that stuff, and do you think finding your purpose helps you as well? Like when you do something like, I'll just use an example. Yes, the last 3 days I've been at Comic-Cons looking at doing some community work. Do you think that kind of stuff as well helps as well in your experience, or like finding your purpose in something, like you're really flowing in what you're doing? It doesn't matter whether you're cutting someone's grass or whatever else. You found, I cut grass, but I really feel centered. Would you feel that? Do you feel that way as well? Not just the physical activity, or how do you feel about that?
Well, I think as far as releasing trauma that's stored in your body, it needs to come out through the somatic healing. But that's not to say that you can't still have these things to have your life's purpose, right? So I think that active contribution, everybody needs to be doing active contribution to really find their life's purpose and have fulfillment in their life. So I think it kind of like ties into each other. But I think a lot of people don't know that they have any trauma. So it just stays trapped.
Do you find people like that there, Karen, coming to you like they're not awake, and do you feel like sometimes you go, I can't help you yet, or do you take them on board? How do you feel about that?
Most of the people are aligned at some point, and like there's different things, right? But most of them are aligned in the general thinking, right? But again, we're all on different stages of it. So most of the people that would come to me would be on the same level or have the same type of awareness.
They're attracted to your energy in that way.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Di, you got another question for Karen there?
Let me think. I guess just in general, like, okay, someone they really want to stop self-sabotage. They don't even know where to begin. What do you think for someone that's like just beginning, that maybe isn't that self-aware? What do you think your advice with them, like your best tool for them to stop self-sabotage, like they want to, but maybe they're just not as connected, but they still like want to change?
Mm-hmm. Well, I would definitely say to reach out to a coach like myself or someone that resonates with them, because there's so many coaches out there. But you can even just go online and there's videos and things for like reprogramming. So I think hypnosis is a big thing.
Yeah, that helped me a lot too. Yeah.
Morning and evening when you're in a theta state, so I do hypnosis every morning when I just get up. So I'm still in that theta state and I just put on the hypnosis and just watching your surroundings. So your subconscious mind wants to fit in with the herd. So program your subconscious to make it think that you're in another herd. So listening to positive podcasts. So instead of listening to the radio or music, like put on like Tony Robbins.
Wow, you know, Karen, that's amazing, because Michael McNair, my mentor, said the same thing. As when you become aware, you have a look. I'm a muso, so I listen to music. But he goes, "Why are you listening to it?" This is when I nearly deleted. I'll use that word. I went on the delete thing where I was watching something and really, where my mind was. That resonates with me so much. And then I can watch it again, have fun with it. It's positive. You can see you take another view of it because your mind is changed. That's amazing what you just said. Yeah,
mm-hmm. The TV as well, right? So a lot of people are watching. I don't watch the TV, but the TV is the biggest programming tool. It's called TV programming for a reason, because it's literally programming your subconscious mind.
Well, you've been telling us that for a while, haven't you?
So turn off, reprogram your surroundings. Turn off the TV, put on some healthy content, or even just watch positive documentaries or meditation, and then surround yourself. It's hard to say surround yourself with the right people, because if you don't have a support system, obviously that's not possible. But try to find a mentor. Try to find people that you want to be like. You want to spend time with people that you aspire to be like. And if that's not possible, then you just do the podcast and the healthy content, and turn off all the negative content. Even on social media, you have to be really careful what you're watching, because a lot of these videos we're seeing are trying to suck your positive energy into your subconscious. So if you're watching a show and it's showing people killing each other or fighting, your subconscious mind thinks that that's you, because it doesn't know the difference between real and fake. So it actually will put you in a fight or flight mode, because it thinks that that's you, you're fighting with somebody. So that's why the programming is it's called programming, because it's literally putting people in a fight or flight state. Because when you watch TV, your brain goes into theta state. So it's almost like you're doing a hypnosis, but you're watching a show.
It's really interesting, Karen, with that one there, because you get attracted to, I believe you get attracted to certain TV shows on your state of where you're at. I tell people I watch this show, Too Hot to Handle, right? And they go, oh, another dating show, right? And it's not. It's absolutely the absolute opposite. It's such a spiritual journey for these people who are, let's go party animals to spiritual warriors, right? But you see the journey over and creating, looking at yourself and creating a relationship, actually going in and connecting with someone on that level, on the love level, because everyone wants that. We're mammals, that's the way it works. But everyone goes, oh, you're crazy watching that. It's like that Love Island. I go, nah, not at all. It's an amazing show, in that way. And that's where my mind's at. If you're watching it, I'm actually learning a lot about how people, come from that party stage, whichever it is, and look and go, I found myself here and I want to be a better person, and how can I be a better person? So you're sitting on that track, you know. So yeah, interesting you say that.
Yeah, it's really important just to take all of that negative out, and then you can fill it with the positive, right? There's so many, even on social media, you can follow positive people instead of the doom and gloom and the negativity, because that all really ties into it. It really puts your subconscious mind in that fight or flight mode.
Do you find yourself going into the like they always say, always be positive, but there's actually being positive and actually living the positive as well within your mind? Do you find, like I find, it was taken out, now that I know this, as I said, revelations are coming pretty quick, that it was taken out of me to look at the positive. Like I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and she was going, this has happened, I go, look, have a look what happened, what we've got here, you know, this has happened, it's been a great thing. I instead of taking the negative, I gave her the positive. So that's where my mind's at the moment. And I was like that, and it was beaten out of me in that some ways, you know, when you go into community. What do you think, Di? Do you think has happened to you as well?
What was the exact question at the end?
Actually, when someone says, you know, they actually can put something onto you where they're stressed out and they put the negative on you, but you see the positive side of it. Do you think that, or both of you, do you think that when we do give the positive, where, you know, and people are open to it, they go, okay, and you're sort of giving that sort of ray of light when they're sort of going, you know, this has happened, they look at the negative of situation instead of, there is a lot of positive in situations as well, and that's their mindset. But then you put your, you get your magic powers and put your white light into them, and you sort of calm that sort of thing down because you look at it from a different perspective. Because I think the positive's been beaten out of us in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people, their programming or just the way their mindset is, where a lot of us are taught to focus on the negative. There could be a million good things happening, and you're focusing on that one negative thing. And I think even just, communicating that to somebody, you know, just bringing awareness to that. Like, have you ever had a time where, like, someone came to you with that, like, negative stuff, and you did plant a seed of positivity? You say, well, hey, actually, this actually happened, but... You know, and sometimes they'll look at you, and their programming or their subconscious might reject that, but it's still planting that seed. It's getting them, it's providing some awareness maybe they didn't have. You know, a lot of times when you're in that negative loop, you just keep going. You're so used to it. You don't even know you're in it when you're that deep in it. You know, we all used to, I think I've been at a certain level. But, man, what helped you get out of it? Maybe you heard someone from give you a different perspective on it, or, you know, there's something that sparked that change. You know, you're starting to rewire a little bit, you know, once you can think of something outside of that box.
What do you think? Well, and with you, Karen, what do you reckon? Because you're actually coaching people in that way. What do you think about that? Like looking at the positive, and then they go, you know, you're reprogramming them with your words.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of fear, like fear, and that is the programming, fear, because fear puts you in the fight or flight, and people want your fear energy. So a lot of people are fear and in that doom and gloom mindset. I had to work really hard to change that, and I have done that. And it really is just the person's own personal mindset and how much work they've done on themselves. But what I always tell people is to take the lesson, because there's always a lesson in even the negative things. And also just to try to control your inner self so that you're not affected by the outer things that give you that negative feeling, right? So instead of, like, I've gotten to a place where I don't have any fear about what's to come, like the future. There's so many things happening in the world, and I don't let it bother me anymore. And I try to put that on other people, but I think they really have to work on themselves to have that same way of thinking. But I really just take the lesson in everything, because there are going to be negative things that happen. But if you just try to say, okay, but what is this teaching me? Because there's always going to be a reason something happens. I believe everything happens for a reason. So what is this teaching me so that I can take this lesson and learn from it? Instead of looking at it as something negative, like, what is this going to teach me?
Is there anything that, since your awakening, have you sort of moved towards particular writers or podcasters or anyone on YouTube that you watch? An example for me would be Jason Stevenson. I listen to his meditations. Wayne Dyer, of course. There's Louise Hay. I watch a lot of personal development stuff with regards to opinion pieces on the masculine and feminine. Is there anything that you are moving or you watch to, I guess, give yourself positive brain food in that way, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, so I love both of them. I love Wayne Dyer. I love so Tony Robbins is like my favorite. I did a seminar from him earlier this year, and it honestly was life-changing for me. So I love him. I like Ed Milet as well. Mel Robbins is good. There's so many good ones out there that I follow, so that at least my social media is full of positive content.
Yeah.
It's not all filled with negative. Yeah.
You have to reprogram your own algorithm on social media. So I always say we need to start liking and commenting, interacting with the positive stuff instead of the gossip and the fear and all that stuff. Yeah. Like I worked on reprogramming. I mean, of course, and like removing myself from groups that are toxic, unfollowing people that are toxic. But you can do it just like you rewire your brain. Like the social media, all the things you're looking at, even your Netflix, if you're still going to watch Netflix, whatever, at least start to like things that are more positive that can maybe help you learn. Yeah, not the
positive documentary. I don't watch TV, but I very rarely will be like, okay, I'm going to relax and watch something. Usually I last like a half an hour, but it's always a positive documentary. I won't watch anything else. And even that, I lose interest quickly. But if I am going to watch something, it's going to be something that I'm going to learn from and something that's going to be positive.
I just enjoy, you just enjoy what you're doing. Like, as I said, I do the same. I don't watch TV, but I like listening to podcasts. I still watch I love me pro wrestling. I watch all that. And there was a particular show I watched that's, I watch Titans. That's basically it. I don't watch, like, when someone was asking me about watching TV, I don't watch it as much. I'm looking at it, I don't watch it as much because we're working on ourselves and listening to podcasts and meeting great people like yourself. So,
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have gotten stuck in that rut of, let's work the 9-to-5 job, come home, have a drink, watch TV, and, complain about the week, wait for the weekend. Then the weekend hits and it's like, okay, let's, watch a movie. Let's eat a bunch of junk food. Let's go out and get drunk. Let's, live in this toxic cycle and then do it all over again the next week. And they get stuck in this repetitive rut where they're not actually living their life. They're just kind of existing. And to overcome some of these programs is to actually take you to the next level so you can start doing the healing. You can start connecting with people and doing all of these things because people have all this incredible power inside of them and they just don't know it. And they're not living their life's purpose because they're just staying stuck and stagnant. They don't want to grow.
The thing is, excuse me, sorry. Get the frog out of my throat. Or the kangaroo, because we love kangaroos down here, obviously.
Kangaroos are my favorite.
Yeah, I love them too, yeah.
I've got kangaroos in my backyard pretty much. It's not a lie.
I need a video, Jay. I'm missing
kangaroos
a video.
Everywhere.
You owe us
kangaroo
video.
videos for you when we connect on. Now that we've connected, I'll take some kangaroo. Everyone, Diane, go chase the kangaroos. I took them one day. I walked straight up to them. But and I look, it's funny. It's funny when you get into the state you're saying. Obviously, being in the music scene, you say we finish at Rockstar Hour, which is 2 or 3 in the morning, and I can even say that sometimes you're starving, you have to get something, so you go and get that, but it also gives you a little reminder of where you've gone. Like I don't go eating rubbish or anything as much as nowhere, not even what I did, no way, but it gives you a reminder of what you do. Do you have any of those moments, Karen, where you not slip back in, but you sort of go, okay, it's unavoidable, like say the junk food, say at 2 or 3 in the morning, all you do is get kebabs or, whatever. And, you want to eat and you just think, okay, I had a little bit, and it sort of gives you sort of that throwback, if you know what I mean. Would that be, have you had those moments?
Absolutely. It's constant and it's normal. Like everybody's going to have those times where, you have to eat something, you're out. I was just away this weekend and I was out at restaurants. It's really hard to eat healthy, but I just try my best, and also just be gentle with yourself. Because if you beat up on yourself and then you just start, because negative self-talk is also a huge self-sabotaging trait. And so some people beat themselves up, like I shouldn't have ate that, now I don't feel bad. And that's not helping either. So it's important to be like, okay, I ate that, I shouldn't have. Okay, let's move forward. Instead of getting in that negative, conscious mind of like feeling bad or thinking bad about yourself. Because when you say something bad about yourself, your subconscious mind takes that as a fact as well.
Yeah.
So all of that ties into reprogramming and getting rid of that negative self-talk, because that's huge. So many people are, have such negative thoughts about themselves, and it's so detrimental.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's just a case of you probably found it in yourself that, and do you believe we've got a couple of minutes left. Do you think with regards to connecting with people, it's interesting how people are awaking. I've had a few people come out at me that I wouldn't have expected. I've got a friend of mine who's keep telling me about the angelic numbers. He come up to me and goes, I've got the angelic numbers. He's talking about 111, 222, all that kind of stuff. And do you feel like people are sort of coming towards you in some way because their energy's changing or something, or they're becoming aware and that you never thought they would?
Yeah, I think I had a lot of people from high school get in touch with me. I think it is slowly happening. I think a lot of people are becoming more aware of things that are going on, and also getting more in touch with their spirituality and themselves, because of everything going on. It's really pulling people to look a little bit more. But I also know that not everybody's going to. So I do like what you said, is just plant seeds, right? You can't. And when people come to me, I love it. I love helping people. I love sharing what I do with people, but planting those seeds. And then, I have had people come to me because they're going through their own process. They're going through their own awakening.
So they come towards people, and look, I've just sort of seen a lot of people waking up. I guess we just have to be open to it, because I always sort of step away a lot more so to actually talk to those people who go from there. I'll ask you a question for yourself. So you'd have people who aren't awake in some ways. Obviously, I'm in a music scene, right? Because you can just imagine you can just imagine what's happening, okay?
Yeah.
So there's not many people. So I feel like I'm an outsider, all right? Even though you get on and all this stuff and all that, but you've changed, right? So in your case, do you feel that some people are sort of attracting to you and sort of noticing an awareness or something, or they're sort of picking up, or you're sort of triggering them, not saying something, but your energy is triggering them and they're sort of opening to this stuff? Does that make any sense?
I have had people that, mostly because, like friends that have come to me after the whole COVID thing. A lot of people just seeing my posts will reach out to me. But then I also have people that just, I know are not aligned. They're completely on the other side. And I just know that they're never going to really change. It's just, and I won't engage or say anything. If people ask me something, I'll say my opinion, but I don't just, go around saying like, oh, this, and this is what I believe. So I kind of just gauge the scene. And if someone mentions something, it gives me a door to like maybe talk about something with them. If they don't, then I kind of leave it, because there are just some people that are completely on different pages. And but I'll plant seeds when I can, but I won't I kind of just gauge how I feel and how the vibe of somebody, and what level I think we can talk about things.
No, absolutely. On that note, we've got a couple of minutes left. Do you want to talk a little bit, just to finish up, just to give us a bit of a rundown where people can find you, just a bit about your business, okay? And you can also talk about the people you're trying to, obviously we're all trying to help everyone, but there's going to be a particular part of the community that will attract to you. Do you want to tell us a little bit, just to finish off, just give us a closing statement about what a wonderful person you are? I mean, this has been mind-blowing, with some of the stuff, because I mean, Diana and I both go through what we're going through, and the self-sabotage, that's huge.
It is.
I've never really heard of a specific self-sabotage.
That's why I think it's awesome. Yeah, no, I think that's great. Yeah,
So this is why we're doing what we're doing, to get the message out to people that we know about. There are coaches like yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't think of a self-sabotage coach.
Right. Yeah.
So just give us a final pitch it, not even a pitch, just how what a wonderful person you are and what you're doing to help the community.
So my social media is Karen, Karen Mendell, Mendell. So YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. If you search that, you'll see me come up, and Facebook, and you can message me. If you have any questions, even if you just want to do like a 15-minute discovery or strategy call, even if you don't go through with it, but I can at least just give you some information and maybe start you off on the right track. So I'd be happy to do that. And that is also, if you're interested in the coaching, then I can give you a little bit of details as to exactly what it would entail, what I do. But my goal is really just to help as many people as possible, because so many people need this help, especially after COVID and what happened. You know, there's families that are in financial distress, or, you know, people are not eating healthy and they don't know what to do, and they don't know how to get out of certain things, or, you know, how to get into that right eating habit, or even toxic relationships. So it could be anything. A lot of people are just stuck and they really don't know they're doing these things and they don't want to do them, but they don't know how to change. So that's where I can really come in and help people. And also people that are, you know, going through a journey and they want to grow and they want to become better people, but maybe they don't know how, or they want to become a better version of themselves. So those are the people that I'm trying to help. I'm a single mom, I'm divorced. So I also really gear towards helping women, especially women around my age, and well, even older, even younger, but just going through, because there's a lot of challenges. And then, yeah, people that are starting their awakening journeys. So my goal is just to help as many people as possible and to educate people on self-sabotage, what it is, what it means, how our subconscious mind affects like everything that we're doing, and how we can actually take our power back so we can control our thoughts, which most people right now are not in control of.
Yep.
Fantastic. Well, on that note, Diana, you have any final words on that one?
No, I just want to say thanks for coming on. I think it was a really good chat, and I think we all learned a lot, and I think it will be good for the viewers as well. And hopefully we can do some more in the future.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This has been great.
Oh, it's been wonderful. Yeah, as I said, self-sabotage coach, you don't hear it.
Yeah. Everyone needs one of those. Everyone, yeah.
I'm a gimmick man. I'm a gimmick man coming from the pro wrestling circuit. So I mean, self-sabotage coach, that's what's really stood out to me. You know what I mean? Like, people don't even understand. People understand that, you know, to a point. It's a really good thing that you're doing. Okay, from Live Theories, that was Karen Mendell, who's a self-sabotage coach. And thank you very much for being on our show. If you want to catch the show, there will be on YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook and YouTube. If I've got it right, that's correct. And if you want to catch any of our other content, you can come on Journey of a White Feather and Words of the Warrior on TikTok. You've got Trailblazers of the Universe with Diana. So she's all over social media. You can't help but see it. And also you've got Big Soul Healing. I got it right, and Sarah's not even here. How's that?
Wow.
There you go, Sarah. Got it right. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can catch her on Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. And also the big fella, Batman over in England, Cortez Medford. He's on Spiritual Needs TV, and he's doing some funny stuff, I tell you. But it's eye-opening. So we'll look forward to next week. Thanks again, Karen, for coming on board.
Thank you guys so much.
It's been wonderful. No worries. Well, thanks very much, and we'll sign out from Life Theories. Be your best self, and you know, if you understand self-sabotage, it's the lady you got to see. Take care, guys. We'll see you next week for Life Theories. Take care and live your best life. See you soon.
Bye.